Now, you've worked with IUCN for over 17 years, and much of your work in Eastern and Southern Africa has involved natural resources governance, one of the key topics of the annual Democracy Forum 2014 here this week. I just wondered what have been the biggest challenges during your time working on this issue, and what steps have you actually, in practical terms, taken to overcome them?
Okay. Well, there have been a number of challenges over the years, and I suppose the challenges have changed dramatically as time has gone by. Over the last 5 or so years, perhaps the challenges really stem from this increasing drive for economic growth across most of Eastern and Southern Africa. This has changed the way in which the natural resources are being perceived and valued. And I suppose a lot of the challenges really come from being able to protect the natural resource base in its wider form, the wider goods and services of ecosystems, not just the oil and the minerals, etc., and make the case for doing that. What have we done over time? We are gradually learning to move into being able to make a business case for natural resources, not just for this generation, but also for future generations to come. What is the business value of water, of a wetland, of wildlife corridors vis-a-vis human-wildlife conflict? What does that mean not only for the private sector, but also for governments?
And in that sense, how have you brought private sector actors to the table in terms of this valuation and in terms of this prioritization of the natural resources?
By presenting it as risks, business risks, what is in very simplistic terms, what is the risk of losing your water base over the next 5 years for an irrigation company, and what does that mean? But also there's been an increasing space and interest of business to engage with organizations like ours, and to look at things from a sustainable perspective because they see it as making good business sense.
And these are local companies, national companies, or big
They tend to be the larger companies, international companies, I think, because they have accumulated more experiences over the years, because they have a lot more pressure for good practice from their own shareholders. But we're slowly also starting a dialogue with the national and local companies.
And is it an easy sell? I mean, can you get these private sector companies on board easily, or do you really have to state the case and keep fighting for nature in that sense?
No, it's a very difficult sell, and it's also a very complicated relationship to form. And we're very much we're interested in transformational partnerships. We are not consultants. We're interested in engaging in companies that are willing to make meaningful changes to the way in which they do business. We have to be very careful of not being used for greenwashing, which is a reality and does happen. But there are some companies, and like I said, growing in number, that are willing to do this.
So it's going beyond lip service to
yes.
affecting sustainable change and behavioral change within companies in many cases.
No, absolutely, and at the multiple levels at which companies operate.